What is up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Hope everyone had a solid Thanksgiving and getting some good deals today on Black Friday. Just me, so it should go pretty quickly. I think we got a bunch of games already finished today. We got a bunch of games going on. The one NFL game going on right now, the Chiefs and the Raiders. Chiefs up 13-3 in the third quarter, looking like 8 minutes to go in the third there. Raiders with the ball at their own 40-yard line. We also got college games galore going on. The Egg Bowl right now. Number 14, Ole Miss was in some trouble. They're still pretty close. It's 17-14. They just scored a touchdown, 8:40 to go in the second quarter. Liberty is in trouble. They are fighting for their spot in this Conference USA Championship game. They are down 17-2, but driving at the Sam Houston 15-yard line, 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. Utah State up on Colorado State 16-6 with under 2 to go in the second. South Alabama fighting at Texas State 28-21, under 2 to go in the second quarter. And then San Jose State up over Stanford 7-3, 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Continuing to monitor those games as we go. But let's get into what has already happened this week. We had couple games. Maction on Tuesday. Akron beating Toledo in overtime 21-14. Tucker Gleason was pretty solid for the Zips, 70.5, or for the Rockets in the loss, 70.5%, I should say. 289, 2 touchdowns, 11 carries, 59 yards. Ben Finley, not very good. Sub 50% completion, but he did throw 2 touchdown passes. They got a lot of help from the defense. And Charles Kellum had 69 yards to lead the Zips in rushing, receiving touchdown for him. 100-yard night for Akron wide receiver Amarian Granger, 2 catches, 106 yards and a touchdown. Caught a 72-yard touchdown on his first catch, the first play of the game for Akron. And defensively, massive tackle numbers for the Zips. I'm going with the top 2 guys, Gage Summers and Brian McCoy, both linebackers for Akron. 19 tackles, 8 of them solos for Summers. 17 tackles, 7 of those solos for McCoy. CJ Nunnally, the fourth as well, an excellent player in this one for Akron. Defensive tackle, had the game-winning sack in overtime on Ben Finley. Akron plus 9.5 wins outright, under 50.5. Buffalo crushing Kent State 43-7 to hold the Golden Flashes winless in 2024 and 0-12 season. CJ Agbana was fantastic, 63.6%, 193, 3 touchdown passes, did have an interception, but rushing wise, he was great as well. 9 carries, 51 yards, and 2 touchdowns there. 5 total for Agbana. The passing game for Kent State, really overall offensively, they couldn't do anything. Tommy Ulatowski, 58.3%, 91 yards, a touchdown. Ruel Tomlinson also played a bit, 3 of 5, 60% for 11 yards. Aljay Henderson, excellent night for him. The Bulls running back, 30 carries, 185 yards, and a touchdown. Massive night. Buffalo wide receiver Victor Snow, 1 yard short of 108 for 99 and a touchdown, lead the game in receiving. And defensively, I am going to go with Buffalo linebacker Deion Crawford. 5 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. Buffalo minus 23.5 covered, under 50.5 by the hook. On last night, we didn't have any games Wednesday. It was an oddity in the schedule, but last night on Thanksgiving, we had Memphis upsetting number 17 Tulane at Tulane, 34-24. Darian Mensah, he actually had a really good night for the Green Wave, 63.6%, 317, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Seth Hennigan, was just a little bit better. 100 less yards essentially, but 75.9%, 218, 2 touchdowns, 11 carries for 10 yards. The biggest story, though, was Mario Anderson Jr. He dashed and slashed through this Green Wave defense the entire night. 24 carries, 177 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches, -4 yards. His teammate, running back Greg DeRosier Jr., he was also fantastic. 6.8 yards per carry on his 6 touches, 6 carries, and a touchdown on the ground, and receiving just an outstanding night. 8 catches, 84 yards, and 2 touchdowns for him. So big 125-yard all-purpose night on his 14 touches and 3 touchdowns. Leading the game in receiving, 100-yard night for Tulane wide receiver Mario Williams. 7 catches, 130 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. And there was not a lot defensively. I'm going to go with Tulane linebacker Sam Howard, 6 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Memphis plus 12.5 wins outright, over 54.5, which I had. And today, the games that have been completed, the 12 o'clock games, number 11, Boise State beating Oregon State. They did score a late touchdown there to get it to a bigger difference here. But Ben Branson for the Beavers, 56.8%, 226, a touchdown. Maddox Madsen, 3 touchdown day for him. Not very good passing wise, though, 51.5%, 195, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries, 37 yards, a rushing touchdown. Of course, Ashton Jeanty did his thing. Fumbled for the second time this year, but 37 carries, 226 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Big game for him. Trying to keep up with Travis Hunter, which we'll talk about in a second. Anthony Hankerson also over 100 in this one for Oregon State. 11 carries, 110 yards, touchdown, 2 catches, 11 yards. 100-yard day for wide receiver Darius Clemens for the Beavers. 8 for 123 and a touchdown. And defensively, I'm going to go with the top guy there, Oregon State defensive back Jaden Robinson. 9 tackles, 8 solos, 1.5 tackles for loss, 2 pass defensed. Oregon State plus 17.5 covered, under 58.5. Speaking of Travis Hunter, number 25, Colorado, just annihilating Oklahoma State 52-0. A dreadful ending to Mike Gundy's season. Started out 3-0, lost 9 straight to end the year. 0-9 in conference play. And for Colorado, they are hoping now. They need a lot of help, which I'll talk about once we get to the college football previews. But need some help to get into the Big 12 championship. We'll see if they can do that. For Oklahoma State, Alan Bowman, I believe, started this game just 1 of 5, 20% for 7 yards. Then they put in the freshman because they were getting blitzed offensively by Colorado, trying to keep up. Maya Luaki Smith, I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but 37.9%, 70 yards, 2 picks, and a fumble. Rough outing for his first game. Trent Howland actually led the game in rushing. The Oklahoma State running back, 9 carries, 57 yards. Big issue for Colorado. They have had their stretches where they have been able to run it, but it's been a consistent thing where they have not been able to run most of the time. Michael Welch, their leading rusher with just 39 yards, did have a touchdown. Shedeur Sanders was player of the game, though, for me. 82.9%, 438, 5 touchdowns, and a pick. Excellent day for Shedeur on his last home game as a Buffalo. LaJohntay Wester, Travis Hunter, both over 100 receiving. Wester, 11 for 175, 2 touchdowns for him. Travis Hunter, excellent day, 10 catches, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 tackle. It was a solo, 2 pass defense, and a pick. So probably going to win the Heisman. Hate it. I wish Jeanty would win it. Bring back the running backs. It's been the year of the running back in the NFL. Why can't it be the year of the running back in college football as well? I don't know. Defensively, a lot of great performances. I'm going to go with Colorado corner DJ McKinney, though. 1 tackle, 1 pass defense, 13-yard pick, 6. Oklahoma State safety Kendall Daniels also with a great performance. Colorado minus 14.5 covered quite easily, under 66.5. I had the over. Why couldn't you help me out, Oklahoma State? Minnesota, this was a dreadful game. I turned this thing off when it got to 21-0 Minnesota because it was just horrific to watch this Wisconsin team. 24-7, though, for the Gophers to win Paul Bunyan's axe. Max Brosmer, 65.4%, 191, 2 touchdowns, a rushing score as well. Pretty solid day for him. Braden Locke, it was just bad. 46.9%, 130 yards, a touchdown. He couldn't. Early on, there was a lot of pass deflections. He hit a helmet with his passes twice. And then they couldn't create separation in the secondary, and they couldn't run the ball. Tawee Walker, their leading rusher, 36 yards, just 2.6 yards per carry. On the other side, Minnesota could run the ball and did very effectively. Darius Taylor, 32 carries, 143 yards, 2 catches for 13 yards. Leading receiver in this one, Minnesota wide receiver Elijah Spencer, 5 for 75. And defensively, there wasn't a ton. I'm going to go with Minnesota, though. Defensive back Justin Wally, 4 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defense. Minnesota minus 1.5, covered under 40.5. Big one in the MAC. Miami, Ohio punches their ticket to the MAC championship game to face the Ohio Bobcats, 28-12 over Bowling Green. Brett Gabbert, he was up and down, 64.3%, 255, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. However, got it done when it mattered. They ran the ball when it mattered, and they are going to Detroit to play for a MAC title back-to-back for the Red Hawks, potentially. Connor Bazelak, he struggled, but 63.4%, 201, 1 interception. Keon Mosey, he has been a revelation for this Red Hawks offense this year. 18 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. For Bowling Green, they really couldn't run the ball. You see their leading rusher there, 36 yards for Jamal Johnson, although he did average 12 yards per carry on his 3 carries. Miami, Ohio wide receiver Javon Tracy led the game in receiving, 3 for 91 and a touchdown, big 70 or whatever it was, 72-yarder, I think it was, for him late in this one. Defensively, there was not a ton. I think I'm going to go with Miami, Ohio, though. Defensive back Silas Walters, 10 tackles, 6 solos, 2 passes defensed. Miami, Ohio, +3 wins outright over 37.5. Navy beating up on East Carolina, 34-20. I lone wolfed the Pirates. I thought Caton Hauser was playing outstanding football, and they were in the first half. This thing should have been 17-0 going into halftime. It was just mistake after mistake after mistake for East Carolina. They went for it on 4th and goal from the 3-yard line, didn't get it. They missed a 30-yard field goal as well, and then I think they went for another 4th down and then they got the field goal and led it 3-0 at halftime, and it was not great after that because Navy really made great adjustments on offense in the second half, and they were able to completely dominate this game in the second half. Caton Hauser, though, 55.6%, 219, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Braxton Woodson had a great game for the midshipmen, 63.2%, 165, a touchdown, 15 carries, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Navy quarterback. Excellent day for him. Navy wide receiver Nathan Kent led the game in receiving, 2 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, I'm going to go with ECU linebacker Zakai Barker, 9 tackles, 4 solos, 1.5 tackles for loss, and 1 pass defensed. Navy +3 wins outright over 52.5. On to NFL this week. Monday Night Football, Ravens getting it done in LA, 30-23 over the Chargers. It was a struggle for the Chargers. They went down, scored the touchdown, went up 7-0, were feeling good. And then the Ravens came. Two scores to make it I believe it was 14-10 at halftime. Justin Herbert, 58.3%, 218, 4 carries, 29 yards, touchdown. Lamar Jackson was efficient, 72.7%, 177, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries, 15 yards, a rushing touchdown. Derrick Henry, that was the story of the game, though, continued to ball out, 24 carries, 140 yards, leading the game in rushing. And big loss, J.K. Dobbins went down in this one for LA, really hindered their running game. We'll see if Gus Edwards can get it done this week. Lab McConkey, the rookie, continues to be great for LA. Caught all 6 of his targets for 83 yards, lead the game in receiving. And defensively, how about let's go with Ravens linebacker Kyle Van Noy. 2 tackles, 1 solo, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, and 1 QB hit. Ravens minus 2.5 covered, over 50.5. And yesterday, Thanksgiving, they started out in Detroit. Lions squeaking one out 23-20 over the Bears. And this is just a ridiculous ending for Chicago. Caleb Williams got sacked with about 43 seconds to go. They got one playoff. They had one timeout left. It was 3rd down, I believe, and they got one playoff after that, and it was a incomplete deep throw that came when the snap happened with like 4 seconds. So it was a horrendous clock management issue there, and we'll talk about what happened because of that in Chicago today in a bit. But into the game here, Caleb Williams, he actually was really good. I mean, the second half was fantastic for Caleb Williams. 51.3%, 256, 3 touchdowns, 4 carries for 39 yards. Jared Goff wasn't lighting it up as much as he had been. 61.8%, 221, 2 touchdowns, solid line nonetheless. David Montgomery led the game in rushing for Detroit. 21 carries, 88 yards, 3 catches for 36 yards. DJ Moore for the Bears, big workload, 16 targets. However, only caught 50% of them, 8 receptions, 97 yards, touchdown. 2 touchdown day for his teammate Keenan Allen. 2 touchdown day for Lions tight end Sam Laporta. And there was a ton of great defensive plays in this one. I got to go with Lions defensive tackle DJ Reader, though. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hits. The Bears easily covered plus 10, under 48.5. The afternoon game, Cowboys 27-20 over the Giants, eliminating the G-Men from the playoffs. First team to do that this year. Cooper Rush was okay, 58.3%, 195 touchdown. Drew Lock was not great, 65.6%, 178 pick, 4 carries, 57 yards, touchdown, and a fumble. That was his best plays. He had 3 runs that were really his best plays of the game. Rico Dowdle, I'm pissed, and I did not start him in fantasy. Big loss for me. 21.3 points on the bench in 3 of my leagues. So that was not fun. 22 carries, though. Rico Dowdle, best performance of the year for the Cowboys. 22 carries, 112 yards, touchdown, 3 catches, 11 yards. Malik Neighbors, the rookie, led the game in receiving, caught 8 of his 13 targets for 69 yards. And how about the defense? I got to go with my guy, Cowboys linebacker DeMarvion Overshown. I love this guy coming out of Texas. 9 tackles, 5 solos, 1 pass defense, fumble recovery, 23-yard pick 6 on a very athletic play. Micah Parsons, though, he had 4 QB hits. Carl Lawson, 5 QB hits. They were hitting Lock all day. Cowboys minus 4.5 covered, over 39.5. And the nightcap, Packers getting to 9 wins, 30-17 over the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa, a really big workload for him, 46 attempts, 80.4% on those, 365, 2 touchdowns. So really a solid night for Tua, although they just could not get enough going on the scoreboard. Jordan Love, great night as well, 75%, 274, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs, bro, what are the Packers doing? I don't. 33 yards in the first half for Jacobs. I'm like, okay, I got Jacobs over rushing. 10 yards in the second half. Like, what are we doing, bro? I have no clue what the Packers were calling offensively. They're calling these passes when they're up big. Run the ball, man. Run the ball. It's just stupid. 2.3 yards per carry for Josh Jacobs. Paltry performance after scoring 3 touchdowns last week. But he did lead the game in rushing, 19 carries, 43 yards, touchdown, 4 catches, 74 yards. And big issue, Dolphins can't run the ball. I don't know where this has gone. Mostert, A-Chain, both terrible rushing performances. A-Chain, luckily for fantasy-wise, he saves you with the receiving performances. Jonnu Smith killed me in fantasy receiving wise. He had a big night, caught 10 of his 11 targets for 113 yards. 2-touchdown night for wide receiver Jaden Reed, Green Bay. And then defensively, I'm going with the bottom guy there. Packers defensive end Lucas Van Ness, 2 tackles, both of them solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit. Packers minus 3.5 covered under 47.5 by the hook. Breaking news. We do have breaking news. Okay. Today, the Bears fired head coach Matt Eberflus, 14-32 in 2+ seasons. First time in Bears history, 105-year history, that they have fired a coach in season. Now, look, offensive coordinator Thomas Brown's going to take over as the interim head coach, and we will see where that goes. Do not hire Thomas Brown as your head coach, Bears. I'm just telling you right now, do not do it. Give you an update on the games going on before we head into the rest of the news here. College games, most of them at halftime. Ole Miss still up 17-14, just under 2 minutes to go. Liberty has scored. They are closing in on Sam Houston at halftime, 17-9 for Sam Houston. Utah State, they are leading at 16-13 at half over Colorado State. Texas State down 7 to South Alabama, 28-21 at halftime. San Jose State has scored again, 14-3 over Stanford, about a minute to go in the second quarter. And then the Raiders have just scored, so they are down now 16-10 in under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. So monitoring all those games as we roll through here. On to the news, though. College football news. North Carolina has fired head coach Mack Brown, 44-32 in 5+ seasons, just one game short of completing his 6th season there in Chapel Hill. 1-4 bowl record, ACC championship berth in 2022. This his second stint with the school. And interesting note, the school has had preliminary talks with Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith about potentially becoming the school's next head coach, although Arthur Smith said he does love it in Pittsburgh, where he's been at this season. Transfer portal, a couple movement here. Iowa running back LaShawn Williams, he is committed to Memphis, trying to put himself in line with all the lineage of running backs coming out of Memphis. Great lineage there, underrated. And a couple guys going into the portal. FAU running back CJ Campbell Jr., excellent freshman season so far for the FAU Owls. He should garner, I would have to think, Power 4 interest there. Charlotte quarterback Max Brown, second time transferring for him, transferred into Charlotte this year from Florida, and now he is transferring out. Started just one game, was a starter at the beginning of the year. And injury note for the game tomorrow, Michigan going to be without corner Will Johnson. Again, toe injury. He's been out since early October. UFL news. My Memphis Showboats released a bunch of guys that had been key part of their defense and offense last year. Linebackers Anthony Butler, Jeff McCulloch, Malik Lawal, and Terrell Hanks. Running back Titus Sven, defense tackle Dalen Mack, and safety Jari Elder, all released for the Showboats. Into NFL news here, the Dolphins linebacker Shaq Barrett, he has applied to the league for reinstatement from his retirement, retired in training camp. Dolphins still hold his rights, though. They did not activate him by 4 p.m. yesterday, so he cannot play for the Dolphins this season, and they said they have no plans to release him so he can go play with another team. So he is kind of sitting in limbo right now for Shaq Barrett. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show, talked about 2025, non-committal about playing next year. However, he would like to be with the Jets if he does play next season. Players of the week this week. AFC offense, Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, 4 touchdown passes against the Patriots. NFC offense, Eagles running back Saquon Barkley, 255 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns against the Rams on Sunday night. AFC defense, Browns defensive end Myles Garrett last Thursday, 3 sacks against the Steelers in their win. NFC defense, Seahawks corner Kobe Bryant, pick 6 off of Kyler Murray to help the Seahawks beat the Cardinals last week. AFC special teams, Broncos kicker Will Lutz, 5 field goals in the Broncos win last weekend. And NFC special teams, Cowboys wide receiver Kavontae Turpin, 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown against the Commanders in their win. And it is week 13. That means we have playoff scenarios starting out. We can get a division winner this weekend. The Buffalo Bills can win the AFC East with a win against the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. That coming after the Dolphins lost yesterday, and that was the only caveat. They needed to be a win and in scenario, so we could see the Bills be the first team into the playoffs if the Chiefs are not. The Chiefs can also clinch a playoff berth today with a win or a tie against the Raiders. A win all they need is a win. Essentially. The Lions, with their win, they can also clinch a playoff berth. 49ers loss or tie, Cardinals loss or tie, Seahawks loss, a Bucks loss as well would get them in. 49ers loss or tie, Cardinals loss, Seahawks tie, Bucks loss or tie, 49ers loss or tie, Cardinals loss or tie, Seahawks loss, Commanders loss or tie, and a Falcons loss. 49ers loss or tie, Cardinals loss or tie, Seahawks loss, Commanders loss, Falcons tie. 49ers loss or tie, Cardinals loss, Seahawks tie, Commanders loss or tie, Falcons loss, 49ers loss or tie, Cardinals loss, Seahawks tie, Commanders loss, and the Falcons tie. Those are the 6 easiest scenarios. Apparently there are other ones that they can win the strength of schedule tiebreaker, but those are the easiest ones for Detroit this weekend. IR return. The Ravens activated the practice window for defense tackle Michael Pierce. Probably not going to play this week, I would not expect. Bunch of guys getting placed on IR. Commanders kicker Austin Seibert with his hip injury missed a couple kicks against the Cowboys last week. Not ready yet, so back to IR he goes. Vikings linebacker Ivan Pace Jr. got placed on the list. Giants linebacker Azeez Ojulari with a toe injury. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham with the tricep tear. He is done for the year. Lions wide receiver Khalif Raymond with a foot injury. And Chargers corner Eli Apple all placed on the list. Touchdown Stanford right before halftime, 42 seconds ago in the first half. Stanford down 14-10 against San Jose State. Halftime in Oxford, Mississippi, Ole Miss up 17-14 over Mississippi State. Anything can happen in the Egg Bowl. Injuries, Bucs safety Jordan Whitehead. He has a pec injury. May still be able to return this season, though, if the team makes the playoffs. Chargers running back J.K. Dobbins, MCL sprain for him last week against the Ravens. Out multiple weeks. Gus Edwards, Kimani Vidal, those are the guys that will be in the backfield going forward. Ravens tight end Charlie Kohler, he is out at least 4 weeks. Broken forearm in that same game. 49ers linebacker Fred Warner, he is just a beast. Tough as they come. He is going to play his 9th straight game this week against the Bills with a fractured ankle. He has a fractured bone in his ankle, playing through it, apparently. Giants defense tackle Dexter Lawrence dislocated his elbow yesterday. He is out for the year, as is rookie tight end Theo Johnson, a foot injury for him. And then Lions linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, he is done for the year as well. Torn ACL yesterday. Ins and outs for Sunday Night Football. Bills tight end Dalton Kincaid with a knee injury. He is out. Linebacker Matt Milano, though, bicep injury. He is questionable. Would have to be activated off IR, but trending toward playing. So it could be a big boost for that Buffalo defense coming up. Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence, left shoulder injury, hasn't played since week 9. Expected to return this week, though, against the Texans. Falcons wide receivers Drake London and Darnell Mooney, both expected to play. Corner Mike Hughes is out for Atlanta. Colts wide receiver Josh Downs is out, as is wide receiver Ashton Dulin. Commanders running back Austin Eckler with concussion. He is out. Corner Marshawn Lattimore is doubtful for Washington, still has yet to play for his new team. Seahawks wide receivers DK Metcalf with a shoulder and Tyler Lockett with a knee. They are both good to go. Eagles ruling out corner Darius Slay with a concussion, and wide receiver Devontae Smith with a hamstring is questionable. And how about the Las Vegas Raiders? They are an extra point away from taking the lead early fourth quarter. Aiden O'Connell, big throw to Trey Tucker down the sideline for a touchdown there. Could be 17-16 coming up, pending the extra point. Releases. Lions releasing defensive end James Houston. He was claimed by the Browns, team that they traded Zadarius Smith, that they got Zadarius Smith from. So kind of a switcheroo there. Broncos, they released tight end Greg Dulcich. He was claimed by the Giants. Makes a lot more sense now. Theo Johnson out for the year. Panthers released defensive end Charles Harris. He was claimed by the Eagles again. It makes a lot of sense. Brandon Graham done for the year, so need another body in that rotation there. Dolphins releasing safety Marcus May. He was claimed by the Chargers. And a couple signings. Vikings, big one. They signed Giants quarterback Daniel Jones to the practice squad. 1 year, $375K for the rest of the season here. And gonna learn. Gonna be able to learn from KOC there. And Sam Darnold, good offensive staff, and see what he can do on the practice squad there. Obviously, practice squad means he can be picked up by any other team. They wants to sign him off the Vikings practice squad to the active roster. So it'll be interesting to see if there is any team that has a quarterback injury and they want to sign Daniel Jones off the Vikings practice squad. And the Lions, they signed linebacker Quan Alexander off the Broncos practice squad. Again, makes sense. Injury. Malcolm Rodriguez goes out for the year. Quan Alexander comes into Detroit. So, college football bracket, playoff bracket. Actually, I want to say one other ins and outs. We're getting some injury news here. So, we have, looks like Bo Nix good to go for their Monday nighter against the Browns. Brock Purdy officially questionable for Sunday night. So it looks like Brock Purdy will have a 1-game absence potentially. Kyle Shanahan said right now he is playing. College football playoff bracket this week. Again, this is week 13 or 14, week 14. I keep forgetting to change that. Anyways, this is how it looks right now. The top 4 seeds did not move. Oregon at number 1, Texas 2, Miami 3, Boise State at 4. The 5th conference champion is actually 16th ranked Arizona State. So that kicks a team out, which is Clemson, that is currently ranked 12th, I believe. Anyways, you go through. You got Ohio State at 5, Penn State at 6. Notre Dame moves up to 7 after Indiana's loss. Georgia moves up to 8. Tennessee to 9. SMU is in at 10. And Indiana drops down to the 11 seed. So the first non-conference champion in. So they have to be careful because it'll be really very intriguing to see if someone wins a conference championship or potentially, you never know. You never know what could happen. Someone can jump them up. Maybe a couple teams jump up ahead of them, and they could be looking at, they could be outside looking in there, even at 11-1 potential with the game against Purdue this weekend. Clemson, Alabama, both out. Very hoping Clemson can get into the ACC title game. Miami needs to lose to Syracuse, though. All right. College football pick standings. Yeah, it was horrendous last. I have been so bad, man. November has been hitting, and it has not gone very well. Jimmy is our new leader by 2. Um, and Logan is now just 4 back. I have really kind of screwed the pooch here. 0-4 last week for me on Lone Wolf. San Jose State lost to UNLV. Indiana lost to Ohio State. Army lost to Notre Dame, and Utah lost to Iowa State. Logan went 2-0. He had the best record last week, 21-6. He got Florida right over Ole Miss, Arizona State right over BYU. Jimmy went 1-0. He got Illinois right over Rutgers on one of the worst plays I've ever seen from a defensive standpoint in terms of Rutgers. We are doing 47 games. We picked 47 games this week. Why? Because it's the last week of the regular season, right? And what I like to do is include every single game that has a potential team with bowl eligibility on the line. So this was one of them, although we would have done this game anyways because Boise State is ranked. Boise did win. They're 18.5-point favorites. Oregon State covered. Good game for the Broncos there into the Mountain West Championship game at 11-1. This one, number 25, Colorado beating Oklahoma State. We all were on those two, got those right. Jimmy Loans Wolves, the Minnesota Golden Gophers in Madison. Paul Bunyan's axe goes back to Minnesota with them. I Lone Wolf, the Red Hawks, got that one right. Miami, Ohio, going to the MAC championship game, beating Bowling Green on the road. And I also Lone Wolf, the Pirates of ECU. They got crushed by the Midshipmen of Navy. And why do you have to do that, ECU? The Egg Bowl going on right now. This is the first game currently going on. Mississippi State holding a 3-point deficit here to number 14 Ole Miss. The Rebels up 17-14 at halftime. 26.5-point favorites in this one. Anything can happen in the rivalry game, though, I guess that's what we're trying to say. And we'll see how this one shakes out. But could be a big shakeup. Ole Miss trying to hope that they can hold right now and get into the college football playoff with maybe 1 or 2 losses above them. But we will wait and see if they can win this one, get to 9-3, and have a chance at it. The total in that game, by the way, was 61.5. They are at 31, so pretty on track there. Started out, that one's on ABC and ESPN Plus right now. Liberty at Sam Houston. Sam Houston up 17-9 over the Flames. Flames have it in Sam Houston territory, though, beginning of the third quarter there, fighting for a spot in the Conference USA Championship game. So here is the first Conference Championship scenario that we got to talk about. So Conference USA, Liberty, easiest path. They get in with a win. If the Flames can win, they will be in. We all think they will. However, if Sam Houston wins, that brings into play Western Kentucky, which we'll talk about in a bit. But Sam Houston win and a Western Kentucky win, the Hilltoppers are in the COSA Championship against Jacksonville State, who they play, by the way. Sam Houston, if the Bearcats end up winning this one, they need Jacksonville State to beat Western Kentucky, and then they will be in the Conference USA Championship game. 47.5 is the total there. We're at 26 right now. So, again, on pretty good pace there. CBS Sportsnet right now. Clean old-fashioned hate. That is tonight. Georgia Tech at number 7, Georgia. Dogs have won 30 straight at home. They're gonna win 31 now. It's Georgia, a lot better Georgia Tech team than we're used to seeing, but it's in Athens, and we don't lose in Athens. Do not like the spread. It has gone down tremendously. It was 20.5, 18.5. I have it as it right now, and yeah, it's. I would expect Georgia Tech to take a run at that and cover, but we shall see. 51.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. It's a rivalry game. Georgia defense played pretty good. So under 51.5 for me. 7:30 p.m. ABC and ESPN Plus. Go Dogs, by the way. Tomorrow, the game, Michigan at number 2, Ohio State. And the guys had to have known I was going to do this. Yeah, of course. Go blue. Go blue. I don't care. Screw Ohio State. Penn State needs a Michigan win and a win of their own to get into the Big Ten title game. That's exactly what's going to happen. Michigan's going to go on the road to Columbus and beat the Buckeyes. Because why not? Why not? Crazy things happen in the rivalry game. And Ryan Day is 1-3 against Michigan. The total for this one is 42.5. I lean on the under. 12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff. Number 8, Tennessee at Vanderbilt. And Logan, looking for a giant killer like I am. Andy. He thinks the Commodores are going to take down the Volunteers in a rivalry game in Nashville. I believe this one's at Nissan Stadium. I think that's where they play at this rivalry at. I think they play at the Titan Stadium there. Could be wrong, but yeah, that's a big one for Vandy. They are 11-point dogs at home. Number 8, Tennessee coming in. I don't see it. I just think the Volunteers are too offensively inclined, and the defense has played pretty good ball this year as well. So I like Tennessee to win this one. Total is 48.5. I like the over 48.5 for me. 12 p.m. ABC and ESPN Plus. And the Raiders have gotten another stop. They are holding KC to a field goal once again. 4th and goal from the 2-yard line, looks like there. The Palmetto Bowl, number 15, South Carolina at number 12, Clemson. And Logan, once again, going with the lone wolf. Yeah, we got lone wolves galore. Logan and I, Jimmy only has one, but the Palmetto Bowl should be something to behold. South Carolina's playing good ball, but I don't think anyone there's an argument to be said that there's no one playing better than Clemson right now, and that is why I think they're so scary. If they can make the ACC championship game, they need a lot of help. They need help from Syracuse, but if they can make it, I think they have a great chance of beating SMU in Charlotte. So I like Clemson, and I like Clemson -3. I think they are the better football team on both sides of the ball, and I think they're going to give the freshman Sellers some issues there with the pass rush and whatnot. Keep them in the pocket and win this one in the rivalry game. Total is 49.5. I am leaning on the under. 12 p.m. on ESPN. The Land of Lincoln Trophy, number 23, Illinois at Northwestern. Yeah, the Illini, 7.5-point favorites on the road, but we all think Illinois will win, coming off the miraculous win in Piscataway, New Jersey last week. Should not have an issue with Northwestern. They are not going bowling. Illinois really doesn't have a lot to play for. They're not going to be in the college football playoff, but trying to get as best a bowl game as they can. 43.5 is the total. I'm going to lean on the under. 12 p.m. Big Ten Network. Kansas at Baylor. The Jayhawks looking for bowl eligibility, and I am with it. Give me KU money line. Don't take the -1. Just take the little bit of a bump with the money line. I don't care. Baylor has been a surprise in the Big 12 this year at 7-4, but Kansas, if not for Clemson, like I said, Kansas is probably the oddest team in the country. 4 straight wins after starting 1-6. They are looking for 5 straight to go bowling. Lance Leipold's squad. Jalen Daniels is playing out of his mind right now, as is Devin Neal. So give us the Jayhawks. We're all on Rock Chalk. Total here 61.5. I am leaning on the under 12 p.m. ESPN2. Battle on the Bayou, Louisiana at UL Monroe, and Sunbelt scenarios. It's pretty straightforward. There are two games, two teams really. Louisiana, all they have to do is win. They beat UL Monroe, and they are in. UL Monroe is going to give up a great fight, though. They started 5-1, lost 5 straight. The Warhawks need this game to go bowling. Louisiana can get in with a win or a South Alabama loss. South Alabama currently up 28-21, 12-20 to go in the third quarter at the 50-yard line with the ball. So the Jaguars are putting up a good fight. USA, what they need to win and have Louisiana lose to UL Monroe, and they are in the Sun Belt Championship game from the Western Division. I'll talk about the East in a hot second, but that is the Louisiana, South Alabama conundrum there in the Sun Belt West. We all like Louisiana. I think they they probably are the best team, if not for James Madison, but James Madison screwed themselves last week in a loss and are not in play for the Sun Belt Championship. 49.5 is the total. I'm going to lean on the under 12 p.m. ESPNU. UTSA at Army. The Black Knights looking for their 10th win of the season. And this is a big one as well because if they win, they will host Tulane next week for the American title game. So that is an intriguing one there for the AAC. UTSA got bowl eligible last week, thankfully, because this is a very difficult opponent they are going against. Matthew Wright, by the way, kicked the field goal for Kansas City. They are back up to 19-17 with 9.5 to go in the fourth. Army, though, tough loss last week to Notre Dame. Got blitzed. I think Bryson Daly is going to want to come out and have a good game against the Roadrunners and run all over UTSA. So I like Army. Not sure about the spread, though. They could probably do that, but UTSA, Owen McCown's playing very well right now. So I like Army, but not the spread. 54.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. 12 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. North Texas at Temple. The Mean Green looking for a bowl, and we all think they will get their 11-point favorites in Philadelphia against the Temple Owls. And yeah, I like UNT. I just think Temple's in a tough situation. They really don't have a great offense, nor do they have a great defense. So give us the Mean Green on the road. 64.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. 12 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Action here, and it is a bowl on the line. Eastern Michigan at Western Michigan. I didn't check the standings for the I forget what it's called, the Battle of Michigan Trophy, where Eastern, Western, and Central all play for it. But hell yeah. Give me the Eagles. Give me the Eagles of Eastern Michigan, Cole Snyder, and that offense. Western Michigan has been weird. They started off at 4-0 in conference play, have dropped a bunch the last couple of weeks and kicked themselves out of the MAC championship game play. So I like Eastern. They're up and down, but I believe in Cole Snyder, even on the road, 6.5-point dog. Give me the Eagles here to go bowling and Western Michigan to not. 56.5 is the total. I like the under 56.5. 1:30 p.m. ESPN Plus. Coastal Carolina at Georgia State. This one flipped. It was a 1-point favorite for the Panthers. Making it flip 2 points to Coastal. They are looking for a bowl, and I think they will get it. Ethan Vasco, I've been wrong before on Coastal this year, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong this year, this week. Georgia State's had a tough year. Started out decently, but Coastal, I just think, is a better team. Ethan Vasco get that running game going and helped out the defense there with Silas Kelly and squad. So give me the shots on the road. I think they can get it done. 54.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Maryland at number 4, Penn State. Yeah, the Nittany Lions getting 25 at home. I don't like that. They've never been able to cover big spreads like that. So I would lean Maryland plus 25, although the Terps have not been very good this year. Just 4-7. But yeah, Drew Aller, Penn State has a lot to play for still. They can win and get into the Big Ten championship game. They will know essentially when they start this game if they have a Big Ten title hopes in play. If not, they're still trying to win because they want to stay in the college football playoff with that 11-1 record. So they need to win regardless, but they will know if they are playing for a Big Ten championship win when this game kicks off at 3:30. 50.5 is the total. I'm going to lean on the over 50.5, 3:30 Big Ten Network. The jeweled Shillelagh, number 5 Notre Dame at USC. The Irish looking to cap off an 11-1 season, go to the college football playoff. USC is going bowling as well as because they beat UCLA last week. So the way the Irish are playing, I do not think this is going to be a close game. And the way that USC played against UCLA, I also do not think this is going to be a close game. I like the Irish. Give me the Irish -7. I know it's 7.5. I'm buying the half point to get it to 7. Maybe even a whole point to get 6.5 under 7 there. But yeah, I just think Notre Dame is going to be too much offensively and defensively. They're going to run the ball very effectively, just like UCLA did against USC. And Notre Dame gets out of Southern Cal with a win and a playoff berth. 52.5 is the total here. I am leaning on the over. 3:30 on CBS. We have a score. Sam Houston has kicked a field goal. They are now up 20-9. So it is a 2-score game there for the Bearcats, trying to keep their Conference USA title hopes alive. Texas State on the South Alabama 1-yard line, 3rd and goal. 6:45 to go in the third quarter. So potential tying touchdown there for the Bobcats. Number 6, Miami at Syracuse. The Canes getting 11 here on the road. At the Dome, guys. At the Dome. That's all I'll say. Syracuse, very, very good season this year. Kyle McCord's playing awesome football right now. And I think they're one of the most underrated 8-3 teams in the country. They will not be underrated once they win against Miami this week. And I think this one is the Miami defense for me. They have skated along with some really bad defensive play. And I just, Cam Ward has not been playing up to par right now. And I think with that crowd, the road atmosphere, long trip up the coast there, I just think that Syracuse can get them. And I'm also picking this because I want Clemson in the ACC title game, and that will happen if Syracuse can get the win. 67.5 is a total. I like the under potentially. Syracuse defense hopefully holds them down. 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. Just like I said, Texas State has scored. They are now tied with South Alabama. 6.5 to go in the third. Cal at number 9, SMU. SMU knows they are in the title game for the ACC, but they want to cap off an 11-1 season with a win and go in with some momentum to the ACC title versus whoever they are playing. Cal, Justin Wilcox squad, they are going bowling, so not a ton to play for other than a 7-win season here going into bowl season. But I think the Mustangs can do it. Kevin Jennings playing awesome football right now, and Brashard Smith has been fantastic as a transitioned wide receiver to running back. 55.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. Cal defense has been outstanding this year, so under 55.5 for me. 3:30 p.m. ESPN2. The Raiders with another stop. They're getting the ball back. About 5.5 to go in the fourth. The Iron Bowl is tomorrow. Auburn at number 13, Alabama. The Tigers came into last week needing 2 straight wins to go bowling. They are 1 win away, going to number 13, Alabama in Tuscaloosa. 11.5-point dogs. Everything is against the Tigers, but they have momentum. They beat A&M last week. They're not going to beat Alabama, though. I know Alabama just got crushed by 21 against Oklahoma. That was on the road in Norman, and they have kind of learned their lesson, I think. This is a rivalry game. Anything can happen, but it's in Tuscaloosa. If it was at Jordan-Hare, I would think about taking Auburn, but it's not. It's in Tuscaloosa, so give us the Tide. And they are hanging on, hoping to get into the playoff with 3 losses. Second team out right now. 52.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. 3:30 p.m. ABC and ESPN Plus. SEC on ABC. The Territorial Cup, number 16, Arizona State at Arizona. 8.5 points for the Sun Devils. We are all on Arizona State. So the Big 12. The Big 12 is an intriguing one. So the most likely scenario is Arizona State versus Iowa State. What has to happen for that to happen? Colorado already won. So that is that is 2 of the scenarios that are the most likely. So Arizona State wins, right? Iowa State wins against Kansas State. Colorado already won. BYU loses to Houston, and Texas Tech loses as well. Texas Tech playing, if I can recall, West Virginia. They are hosting West Virginia. So that is the game in play there. The other one, Arizona State wins, BYU wins, Iowa State wins, Colorado wins. They all win. It's Arizona State versus Iowa State with the tiebreakers that they have. Arizona State can also play BYU. There is one scenario left for that. Arizona State wins, BYU wins, Colorado already won, Iowa State loses to Kansas State. Arizona State can play Colorado as well. If they win, Iowa State wins, Colorado already won, and BYU loses to Houston, but Texas Tech beats West Virginia. Baylor or Cincinnati lose. Baylor the Bears are playing Kansas, which we already went through, and Cincinnati is playing TCU. So those are the 3 games. Texas Tech, West Virginia, Baylor, Kansas, Cincinnati, TCU. Those are the 3 games that are not involving teams in play for the Big 12 title, but they involve tiebreakers that could come into play if we have a team that loses potentially. The other scenario, Arizona State, Colorado, would be Arizona State wins, BYU and Iowa State both lose. 2 of the 4 top 6-2 teams lose in the conference. Then those 2 teams, the other 2 teams will go to the conference championship game. So that is what is standing for Arizona. There is a scenario: Baylor, Kansas State, Texas Tech, TCU, West Virginia. Those are the 5-3 teams that are in play right now. With Colorado's win, they now need Arizona State to lose to Arizona, BYU to lose to Houston, and Iowa State to lose to Kansas State. If all 3 of those teams lose, they will have a chance. I don't know who would get in with what wins and losses. A lot more complicated if that were to happen. Colorado would be in, though. I would believe if that would happen. We'll go through the other Big 12 scenarios when we get to the other games. For this one, though, we all think Arizona State is going to win, so they should probably be in if they win this one. The total here is 53.5. I am leaning on the over. Over is my gut feeling. 330 on Fox. The battle line rivalry, Arkansas at number 21, Mizzou. The Tigers looking to get to 9-3. We all think they will. Arkansas is going bowling. Yeah, not much to say about this one. I think Brady Cook has a good game. It's going to be a tough one. Arkansas's defense has been pretty solid, but I think Brady Cook gets it done for the Tigers at home. 53.5 is the total for this one as well. And I would lean on the under 330 SEC Network. Rutgers at Michigan State. Jimmy's lone wolf this week. He is rolling. Spartans going to a bowl. I just don't see it, Jimmy. They got a win last week. A 7-point win against the worst team in the Big Ten, one of the worst teams in the country, in Purdue on last Friday. I just don't see it, man. Rutgers wants to come in and prove that crap play at the end of the game against Illinois last week was really not them, and I think they will. They'll come into East Lansing, spank Michigan State, and I like Rutgers to win. Rutgers money line, give it to me. Scarlet Knights, Greg Schiano. Take Jonathan Smith's first season away from a bowl. 47.5 is the total. I lean on the under. 330 FS1. NC State at North Carolina. Yeah, this one's a tough one. Wolfpack playing for their bowl eligibility. UNC -3. They are at home. Mac Brown gone. And that's why I like UNC. I think they're going to play for Mac Brown, although he's already fired. I think they're going to want to show everyone that, Mac Brown deserved to coach it out in his last season there if he was going to retire, which he said he was not anyways. But yeah, UNC, I like them in this one. Total is 55.5. And I'm going to lean on the under. 330 ACC Network. Jacksonville State at Western Kentucky. I mentioned the scenario for Western here. They are looking at the Sam Houston game, probably having a watch party right now. Watching this one because if Sam Houston can beat Liberty, which they are up 20-9, 3:45 to go in the third quarter there, they beat Jacksonville State and they will go to the Conference USA Championship game. So it's an interesting dynamic. Jacksonville State, do you rest your players? You're not in the college football playoff scenario. So there's not much to play for other than a 9-win season and momentum going into the CUSA Championship. But do you potentially let your opponent that you could play in back-to-back weeks in by resting your guys, playing your backups? I don't know. What I do know is Western's going to be the more motivated team, and that is why I like Western Kentucky money line. Total is 62.5. I am liking the under 62.5. And the Raiders missing a field goal that would have put them up. Daniel Carlson, it was a weird hold out of AJ Cole's hands, and they missed the field goal. 2:13 to go in the fourth quarter. Chiefs still up by 2. 4 p.m. ESPNU, Jacksonville State, Western Kentucky. TCU at Cincinnati. The Bearcats at home. They're bowl eligibility, and I think they'll get it. Okay, Jimmy's been the Bearcats guy, the Cincinnati guy, most of the season, but I really like the Bearcats here. I think they can get it done. Go bowling. I also need this one for TCU's win-loss total. I have them under 7.5 this year. So please, Bearcats, help me out. Make me some moolah. 58.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. 6 p.m. ESPN Plus. An update, a couple games. Utah State has taken a 23 to 13 lead over Colorado State. 1 minute to go in the third quarter there. That is kind of relevant for the Mountain West Championship game. Colorado State, they need a win and a UNLV loss to get in. Which we'll talk about UNLV in a second. Texas State has taken a 31-28 lead over South Alabama. So Sun Belt Championship implications there for Louisiana. And then San Jose State, they are up 24-10 after Stanford, or actually San Jose scored. So they are up 24-10 now over Stanford, 12:45 to go in the third. This one here, 6 p.m. ESPN Plus. Deeper Than Hate, Appalachian State at Georgia Southern. I'm crazy this weekend. I am on the Mountaineers. They are looking to go bowling. I think they will. They are the better team over Georgia Southern, who has been weird this year. 2.5 for the Eagles at home. I don't care. Give me the Mountaineers. Country road. Take me home. Back to Appalachia and Boone, North Carolina. Mountaineers go bowling, 6-5. Joey Aguilar at quarterback there. 61.5 is the total. And I'm leaning on the under. 6 p.m. ESPN Plus. The old Oaken Bucket, Purdue at number 10, Indiana. Yeah, the Hoosiers should win this one very handily. Not liking the 29 though. It's a weird one. I don't know. It's a rivalry game. You never know. Purdue only lost to Michigan State by 7 last week. Not even close comparing Indiana and Michigan State, but they need to win. They need to win. They need to win big. I think they're in the playoff for Indiana, but they need to solidify it with a big win in this game. 56.5 is the total. I am liking the over. Give me the over. Let's buy a half. Go to 56. 7 p.m. FS1. Washington at number 1, Oregon. And 18.5 point spread for the Ducks. An old Pac-12 rivalry here now in the Big Ten. Washington is going bowling already. So Oregon, what are they playing for? They are already in the Big Ten title game. They are playing for a 12-0, continue to be undefeated season here. And I think they will get it. Not liking the spread. Washington's a scrappy team. The new Rusty's Huskies there in Seattle. But give me Oregon. 50.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. 7:30 on NBC. Lone Star Showdown, number 3, Texas at number 20, Texas A&M. Logan is rolling with the Aggies at Kyle Field. I really don't blame him. I don't. Look, Texas really doesn't have a win this year. A big time win. They lost to Georgia. And other than that, it's like, their best win is probably Michigan, but who knows? I just think the Longhorns are the better team. A&M coming off the loss to Auburn last week in quadruple overtime. I just don't see it. I think, although it's going to be it's always difficult to play at Kyle Field, especially at night. I just think Texas is going to win. This is winner to the SEC title game. And I think Texas will win it, go to a rematch with Georgia. 49.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. 7:30 ABC and ESPN Plus. Farmageddon. Yes, that is the name of this rivalry. Number 24, Kansas State. At number 18, Iowa State. The Cyclones getting 2.5 points in Ames. And I was kind of surprised. We are all on the Wildcats here. I am on the Wildcats partially because I want BYU to get into the Big 12 title game. And they would with a win and a Iowa State loss, essentially. So Iowa State, what are the scenarios for them to get into the Big 12 title game? I mentioned if they are playing Arizona State in the Big 12 title game, that would mean Arizona State wins, Iowa State wins, Colorado wins, and BYU and Texas Tech both lose. They can also have an Arizona State win, an Iowa State win, BYU wins. If they all win, it's Arizona State, Iowa State. They can also play BYU. Now, if they want to play BYU has to win. Iowa State has to win. Colorado already won, and Arizona State loses. That is the lone scenario for that matchup. Now, they can play Colorado, Arizona State, and Iowa State win. Colorado wins, BYU loses. Texas Tech beats West Virginia. Baylor beats Kansas, and Cincinnati beats TCU. All of that happens. It'll be Colorado, Iowa State. Iowa State and Colorado both win. Arizona State, BYU both lose. They face each other. So Iowa State can only play, or can still play the other three. But yeah, those are the scenarios for Iowa State to make it into the Big 12 title game, which we do not think they will. We have them as a loss. 51.5 is the total. And by the way, why am I picking this one for Kansas State? Because Iowa State has struggled. They have not been the same team they were earlier in the year, and Kansas State has been up and down as well. But I believe in the Wildcats more than I do the Cyclones right now. 51.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. 7:30 on Fox. Battle for Nevada. Nevada at number 22, UNLV. Yeah, this one's not a big deal, really. UNLV, they essentially are into the Mountain West Championship game against Boise State with a win or a win and a Colorado State loss, which CSU down by 9 right now. Not sure why Utah State hasn't kicked the extra point yet or whatnot, but yeah, they are down by 9 currently to the Aggies. So could be a win and an easy situation, but I think they will handily beat Nevada. 17.5 points there. Not really sure about that, but 55.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. 8 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. The Commonwealth Cup, Virginia at Virginia Tech, similar to Eastern Western Michigan. This one is for a bowl, and we all believe the Hokies are going to get it done. And I think, yeah, Enter Sandman at night is going to do it. Virginia coming over from Charlottesville, winner is into a bowl game. The Hokies have been very close in some of their potential upsets this year, and I just think that home atmosphere at night, Shane Beamer's squad, or not Shane Beamer, Brent Pry's squad is going to get it done in Blacksburg. 48.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over, actually. 8 p.m. ACC Network. Marshall at James Madison. Why does this game matter? Because if for the Sun Belt East here, Marshall, they need a win and a Georgia Southern loss to get in. But they're a win and in scenario. Georgia Southern needs a win and a Marshall loss to James Madison. We have neither of them winning. Or at least I did not have Georgia Southern winning. If I can recall. where that game is here. Georgia Southern. Yeah, I have App State beating Georgia Southern. So Logan and Jimmy, they have Georgia Southern winning and Marshall losing to JMU, which would put the Eagles into the Sun Belt Championship game. So, with that said, JMU, we all like them to win this one, and we'll see. We'll see what happens in the Georgia Southern game. I have Appalachian State winning. If they both lose, Marshall would be in. $61.5 is the total here. This is a 52.5. 52.5 is the total here, and I am leaning on the over. And what a turn of events in the Raiders game. A fumbled snap looks like it's recovered by the Chiefs, and that should be ball game. Update: Utah State has now taken a 30-13 lead. A fumble return for a touchdown. So 2 straight touchdowns there for Utah State, commanding 30-13 lead going into the fourth quarter. This game here, Marshall, James Madison, it is at 8 p.m. ESPNU. And the Chiefs going to win this game 19-17 there. Raiders are going to cover plus 13.5. And yeah, I believe the under hits as well. Houston at number 19 at BYU, the Cougars. This is a Cougar versus Cougar game. BYU, they have life in the Big 12 title game. They are 13-point favorites. Do not like that spread here. But what does BYU need to get into the Big 12 title game? So if they're going to play Arizona State, BYU need to win, and Colorado and Iowa State needs to lose. Colorado already won. If they're going to play Iowa State, they need to win. Iowa State needs to win, and Arizona State needs to lose. There is not a scenario where they can play Colorado, as far as I am aware, except for the fact that if they win, Colorado already won. But if BYU wins, Arizona State and Iowa State both lose, then it will be Colorado BYU in the Big 12 title game. So not a lot of scenarios left because of the Colorado win for BYU. However, I do really like the Cougars. They screwed the pooch twice in a row. Don't think they're going to do it this one. So, yeah, give me BYU. Give us all BYU. Hopefully, the Cougs can get into the Big 12 title game here. 41.5 is the total. I feel like that's really low. So I'm going to lean on the over. 10:15 p.m. on ESPN. South Alabama has taken a 35-31 lead over Texas State. Stanford has scored. They are now down just 7 to San Jose State, 24-17. And Ole Miss has kicked a field goal. They are up 20-14 over Mississippi State. And the last FBS game we have, New Mexico, Johns Lobos looking for a bowl game. They are in Honolulu at Hawaii. I like UNM here, -3. Devin Dampier has been amazing as a quarterback lately. So give me New Mexico. Give us the spread as well against the Rainbow Warriors, who are not playing for a bowl. 61.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. 11 p.m. on that game. And by the way, the Chiefs winning today, they have clinched. They are the first team to clinch a playoff spot. They have clinched a playoff berth with their victory over the Raiders. And we also have the FCS playoffs. First round starts tomorrow. Central Connecticut State They were an upset. They upset Duquesne to get into the playoffs. They are at number 10, Rhode Island. The Rams are getting 15.5 at home. Not sure about that, but I like the Rams here. I think they are just too good of a team. Central Connecticut State sneaking into the playoffs. URI gets it done at home as the seeded team. 45.5 is the total. I am going to lean on the over. 12 p.m. ESPN Plus. The lone road seeded team this round, number 12, Illinois State at Southeastern Missouri State, SEMO. The reason being, Illinois State contracted with the Illinois High School Football Association to have the state playoffs in their stadium. So, regardless of playoff games for themselves, they are on the road. So it's a lot tougher environment. But give me the Redbirds. This is a Redbird versus Red Hawk game, and I like the Red Birds here. Illinois State gets it done on the road, as is everyone else. 51.5 is the total. I am going to lean on the over. 12 p.m. ESPN Plus. UT Martin at number 16, New Hampshire. The Skyhawks at the Wildcats. Skyhawks actually favored by 1.5. I thought when I saw that spread, I was thinking about going with the Skyhawks. I'm going to go with the seeded team, though. I like the Wildcats in New Hampshire. They're feisty. Max Brosmer's former school there. So give us the Wildcats here. New Hampshire gets it done. 47.5 is the total. I'm leaning on the under. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus. Lehigh, the Skyhawks as well, I believe, are at the number 9 Richmond Spiders. The Spiders getting 11.5. And I lean that. I kind of like Richmond minus 11.5. We could see that. Total is 49.5, though. I'm leaning on the under. Not sure how much offense Lehigh is going to give us in this one. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Eastern Kentucky, the Colonels at number 11, Villanova. The Wildcats getting some nice cold weather here in Pennsylvania. So they're going to host EKU in a nice chilly Philadelphia this weekend. I am liking Villanova minus 8.5. I think they can cover that, win this one handily. 47.5 is the total. I am going to lean on the under there. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. And by the way, Texas State has taken the lead back over South Alabama. This is a crazy game right now. Joey Hobert caught a touchdown, so they are back up. Bobcats 38-35 over the Jaguars. We got Drake, the Bulldogs, at number 13, Tarleton State. And I really like Tarleton. I think the Texan Rider has been their mascot there. They are the Texans, Tarleton State Texans there. So I like the Texans in this one. I think they have a really solid squad at 9-3. And Drake has been a unranked, really solid record team most of the year. But give me the Texans here. Not sure about the spread, but total is 48.5. I am leaning on the over. 3 p.m. ESPN Plus. Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks at number 15, Abilene Christian against the Wildcats. Give me the Lumberjacks. I'm lone wolf in NAU here. This is my one shot that I'm taking in the first round of the FCS playoffs. I think the Lumberjacks can get it done on the road. They are favored for a reason. Someone knows something, and I think NAU goes in to Texas and beats Abilene Christian. 55.5 is the total. I like the over. I think this one's going to be a very high-scoring game. 3 p.m. ESPN Plus. Colorado State trying to storm back in the fourth quarter. They have now scored 8, got the 2-point conversion and off the touchdown, so they are down 9 to 30 to 21. 13.5 to go in the fourth. And the final FCS first round playoff game, Tennessee State at number 14, Montana. I originally picked Eddie George's Tigers, but when I saw the spread, I was like, no. And then I thought about it. I was like, they have to go up to Montana, where it is very, very cold, and play a Grizz team that has been annoyed because of some of the late season losses. Number 14 seed, probably not as high as they wanted to get, but at least they're seeded. I like the Grizz, as is everyone else, to get it done against the Tigers here. 48.5 is the total. I'm going to lean on the under 10:15 p.m. ESPN2 and ESPN Plus, the lone nationally televised FCS playoff game this weekend. So let's go to the 24 NFL pick standings. I am still leading. It's getting closer because I'm not doing well right now on the picks. So Logan has now tied John for second place with his best record last week, 9-2. They are both 2 games back. Jimmy, 4 games back. He tied me at 7-4 last week. The Lone Wolves went like this. There was only one. John lost his only one. The Bears losing to the Vikings. Jimmy and I, we got hit on the split, though. We lost the Packers beating the 49ers. We had the 49ers. We lost the Cardinals against the Seahawks as well on the splits. Bunch of splits this week. I'll tell you, it's pretty crazy. Starting out with the first game, Steelers at the Bengals. We are starting off December here. And December starts like this with an AFC North matchup. Go Steelers, baby. They are probably pissed coming off their road loss to the Browns. And why wouldn't you be? I would be, because the Browns suck. Bengals are 4-7 for a reason. They do not have much defense, and the Pittsburgh Steelers do. I think they're going to shut down Joe Burrow, get to him a lot because he has been hit quite a lot like usual. Steelers win in Cincinnati. 47.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. Give me Pittsburgh +3. Colts at the Patriots. Yeah, Jimmy and I are together again on this split. We like the Patriots. I like the Patriots because of Drake May. Drake May has been playing outstanding football so far the last couple of weeks and really growing into the franchise quarterback role. The Colts, on the other hand, it's a road game. Anthony Richardson has to play on the road in the cold, not in the dome anymore. They're in the cold in New England this weekend. And if they don't run Jonathan Taylor enough, I don't think they're going to win. So I don't think they're going to win this one. It's going to be close. Patriots eke one out at the end. 42.5 is the total. I like the under in that game. Chargers at the Falcons. Yeah, 3 for 3 here on splits, accepted switches. Logan and I are together on this one. John and Jimmy on the Falcons. Logan and I on the Chargers. And I like LA. I like the Chargers money line here. It's a tough loss to the Ravens last week, but I think the Chargers are a very good team defensively. Losing J.K. Dobbins is going to hurt, but in the Gus bus we trust. And I think the Falcons are a defense that you can potentially run against. And they can definitely get to the quarterback. So give us the Chargers for Logan and I, and we'll get out. Total is 47.5. I lean on the under. Chargers defense shuts it down. Seahawks at the Jets. No splits necessary here. We are all on Seattle. Kind of a trappy cut. Teal for John's Seahawks. Long trip from Seattle to East Rutherford. But I think they can do it. They're pissed coming off that, or they're enthralled coming off that Cardinals win last week. So defense played outstanding. They need it again to play against Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. 42.5 is the total. It's going to be cold in MetLife. I'm going to lean on the under. Texans at the Jags. No cold necessary in Florida. I mean, I don't know actually what it's going to be like in Florida. But Trevor Lawrence back for this one. I still like the Texans. They are coming off an embarrassing loss to one of the worst teams in the league in the Titans last week. So give me the Texans and give me the spread on the Texans. I think they will finally come out and do what they're supposed to and beat a team they're supposed to beat in the Jaguars. 43.5 is the total. I'm going to lean on the over. I'm going to lean on the over, actually. Trevor Lawrence back. I'll lean on the over. San Jose State has kicked a field goal, so they are now up 10 on Stanford, 27-17. 5 to go in the third. Cardinals at the Vikings. We are all on Jimmy's Vikings here, and I like the spread here for mini. Give me mini -3. I'm going to buy the half to get it to 3, so mini -3. Cardinals coming off an embarrassing loss to the Seahawks last week. Now they got to go to play one of the best defenses in the league. I like Minnesota. They got shredded by Caleb Williams last week, but don't think they will against Kyler Murray. I think they're going to get some pressure on him. 44.5 is the total. I am going to lean on the under. Cardinals defense, very underrated as well. Titans at the Commanders. Not taking this spread. I think it's a very trappy type game, even though it's a home game for Washington. They've lost, 3 straight. And they're just not the same team. Like, Jaden Daniels has been not playing very well. And on the other 10 for the Titans, Will Levis is playing extremely well. So, trappy type game for me in Washington. Not going to take anything on this one. I lean on the 44.5 I lean on the under for that one. But who the hell knows? This is a weird game, I feel like. 405 slate, the Bucks at the Panthers. My bad. I forgot to put the Panthers logo in there. We are all on Tampa Bay. Not really liking the spread. I lean Panthers +6. Panthers playing very good football right now, even though the wins are not coming, or at least they didn't last week against the Chiefs. 2 straight before that to get them to 3-8, or to 3 wins on the season. So total is 46.5. I am going to lean on the over. Could see some points potentially in Carolina. The other 405 game we have this weekend, Rams at the Saints. I am lone wolfing. Yes, sir. Only lone wolf among us this week in the NFL picks. And look, Rizzy Ball is for real, man. And Derek Carr, the Saints have been very good when he's been under center. So they can keep him there. I think the Saints have a good chance at most of the rest of their games. And the Rams, on the other hand, got blitzed by the Eagles' rushing attack. Now, the Saints are not that type of team with the offensive line the Eagles have and whatnot. Saquon's much better back than Alvin Kamara is. But the Saints have had success running the ball this year, and I think what's going to be a struggle is protecting Derek Carr. So they have to run the ball to set up the pass. I think they're going to be able to do that. The defense is playing outstanding. It's going to be a tough task against Puka and Cooper Kupp. However, the trip alone, decent trip from LA to New Orleans, and the Superdome is going to be crazy. So I like New Orleans in a upset scenario here. 49.5 is the total. I'm going to lean on the over. 425 game, the lone 425 Eagles at the Ravens. It's a mammoth matchup here in Baltimore. It's going to be a cold one. Sets up well for both these teams, right? Both like to run the ball. They have the number 1 and number 2 running backs in the league in terms of rushing yards and touchdowns, I believe. Saquon, number 1 in yards, number 2 in touchdowns. Derrick Henry, number 2 in yards, number 1 in touchdowns, I believe. Back check me on that if you will. But we are all on the Eagles. I'm scared about this. I don't like when we do this to my Eagles. Don't know why no one picked the Ravens to save the graphic. But look, the Eagles are on one right now, as DJ Khaled likes to say. And the way that they are running this football, the way that Jalen Hurts is playing, if they can get Devontae Smith back, that'd be a great thing. And what I will say is I think you're going to see the Eagles throw the ball a lot more than they will run the ball, because that is the Achilles heel of this Ravens defense, is the secondary. They have had a bunch of injuries. And with A.J. Brown there, if Devontae can come back, I think we're going to see a lot of the passing game from Philadelphia in this one. 50.5 is the total. I am going to lean on the over. And Sunday Night Football, 49ers at the Bills. Yeah, the 49ers are I don't even know how to describe it. It's fire sale right now in San Francisco. Brock Purdy is back, so it gives them a chance. Gives them a definite chance. They have a lot of other injuries, though. The Bills are playing very well, coming off a bye. And, yeah, it does not set up well for San Francisco. I think Buffalo wins, and they win the AFC East in this game. 8:20 NBC and Peacock. Totals 44.5. I am going to roll with the lean on the over. Best bets of the week, 2-1 again last week, y'all. I lost the Texans -7.5 against the Titans. They lost that one outright. The Bucks -6 the Giants, my favorite play of the weekend, got that one right. And the Eagles -2.5 at the Rams also got that right. So 25-10-1 this year. It's setting up very well for the very worst, the winning record here. And we have some more updates for the scores here. Liberty has kicked a field goal to get it to an 8-point game 12 minutes ago, or 7:20 to go in the fourth. There, Texas State has scored again. So they a pick six for the Bobcats. They are up 10 with 7.5 to go in the fourth quarter. But back to my best bets. Like the Chargers, Jimmy and I are on the Logan and I are on the Chargers versus John and Jimmy on the Falcons. So we are splitting that one. But I like the Chargers. -1's a nice spread at the Falcons. I think it's a sort of a toss-up game, but I think the Chargers defense will win that one, and the way that Justin Herbert's playing as well. Minnesota -3.5 versus the Cardinals. I wish it was 3, but that's the line I got to go with on the best bets. Best line I got. So -3.5 for the Vikings at home against the Cardinals. Let's go, Sam Darnold. Think they can do that one. And the Eagles +3 at the Ravens. Yeah, I like it. Go Birds. We should get a big win in Baltimore. Lock standings here. Yeah, Logan and Jimmy, they were together. John and I were together last week. On the Texans. Of course, they lost to the Titans. Jimmy and Logan, they were on the Bucks. So it's a shakeup in the lock standings now. Logan, the outright leader at 9-3. Jimmy has now joined John and I at 8-4, one back of Logan, who is getting close. We got about a month or so, a month and a half left of football, NFL. So locks. We'll see if Logan can do it. But it's crazy. This week we have all different picks. Logan is on the Bills, Sunday Night Football against the 49ers, 7-point favorites. I am on the Vikings against the Cardinals in Minneapolis. I really like that one. They are -3.5. Jimmy, he is on the Rams, -2.5 against in New Orleans. I don't like that, Jimmy. I'm picking Saints, Lone Wolf. John, he is back-to-back on the Texans this week in Jacksonville. Hopefully they don't disappoint you again, John. Dog standings. So Logan and John were together for the Dogs last week, and they got the John Seahawks right +1 against the Cardinals, outright win. Jimmy and I we got screwed. 49ers +5 at the Packers. We didn't know Brock Purdy was not gonna play, so we got kind of gypped. But Logan is taking a commanding lead now. Okay. He is now, I believe that's a 3.5 game lead. Jimmy closing in on me as well. 2.5, I think that is 1.5, whatever. And John is almost to 500. He's getting there, but not quite there yet. So here we go this week. Logan and I are together. Eagles +3 at the Ravens. That's one of my best bets. Go Birds. Think we can get it done. It's going to be a tough game in Baltimore, but let's go Birds. Jimmy is on my Steelers. Why you got to do that to me, Jimmy? +3 at the Bengals. Yeah, we're all on Pittsburgh in that one, so hopefully Pitt can get it done as well. And John is on the Falcons. He's going against my best bet of the Chargers. Him and Jimmy together on Atlanta +1 against LA. Next week, week 14, we'll be back talking all your game recaps, game previews as well, conference championship weekend in college football, week 14 NFL. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram, and X, FA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Have a great weekend, y'all. Happy Black Friday, and we will see y'all back on